Hello and welcome to another episode of Ladies Talking Business on PlusTvAfrica. I'm your host, Moremi Akano. On today's episode, our guest is the co-founder and managing director of Crowdyvest, a platform focused on raising funds for businesses in various sectors through crowdfunding. Interestingly, she founded her first startup when she was just 16, called Gifted Hands, a makeup business that ran for 10 years, and at age 19, she founded a cleaning services business known as Fini Enterprises. She is also one of the co-founders of Farmcrowdy. Our guest is Temitope Omotolani. Thank you for joining us on the show today, Temitope.
Thank you for having me.
So let's just go straight into it. Okay. What is Crowdyvest about?
Okay, so Crowdyvest is a digital platform that allows people to fund projects through crowdfunding. So we identify businesses that are impact-driven and focused around the 17 SDG goals because we are very heavy on social impact. So we fund those projects through the monies that is being raised on the platform from everyday Nigerians, and they're able to earn good returns on their monies. And we also run a savings platform that allows people to create different savings plan from short-term, long-term to short-term, medium-term, or long-term savings plan, depending on what they want to do. And they are able to earn good returns on their savings daily.
Okay, so when you say good returns, really, like, what do you mean?
So for the savings, we have returns from between 12 to 15%, and for our crowdfunding platforms, we have returns from 11% to 24%, depending on the project that we are raising funds for. And we have over 80,000 users already on the platform.
Wow, that's huge.
Yes, and we've been able to do over $20 million since we started, from everyday Nigerians, putting in their bits here and there to support these businesses.
So what's the least that can be put in?
So we do as minimum as 20,000. So if you have 20,000, you can fund a project on the platform. And for the savings, we do as low as 1,000
a month or
yes,
a day,
depending on what you set. So you can save daily, you can save weekly, monthly, quarterly, depending on what you set for yourself.
Amazing. So what was the defining moment for you? What made you think, you know what, I have to do something like this to help businesses?
Coming from Farmcrowdy was crowdfunding for agriculture. And then we discovered that beyond agriculture, other sectors need to also raise money. Access to finance was a major problem for a lot of businesses. So we thought, okay, why not separate the crowdfunding bit of the business from the agriculture bit? So that was how we created Crowdyvest to focus on raising funds through the crowdfunding for other businesses and in different sectors beyond agriculture. And then when we did that too, there are people that are just still scared of the word investment or crowdfunding. So they would rather save. So we are trying to create an environment or a community for people to be financially independent and, stop depending on what we are still waiting for, the hand-me-downs and, somebody will give me stuff. You can save towards your own independence and plan your life accordingly. So we are just a community of people that are deliberate about our life and making sure that we are financially independent and capable to live life to the fullest, really.
Interesting. So I was going to ask about the concept of crowdfunding. It's still very new in Nigeria. Despite the fact that you guys have been working you've been running the business for a while, but a lot of people still don't understand or still don't regard the concept of crowdfunding. So what's your company doing to put it out there? Okay,
so it's interesting that a lot of people still don't get the concept, but let me just explain. So if I'm trying to raise 100 million, rather than go to one person and raise the 100 million and go through all the processes and all the rigor, I can get 100 people, 100,000 people to just give me maybe 1,000 naira and I raise my money. And the beautiful thing about it is everybody that came together to raise that fund, you have contributed heavily to the success of the business, and you have also contributed to the economic growth. So at the end of the day, beyond the contribution you made, you are also going to be earning profit. So it's an alternative investment as against just putting monies in shares, bonds, and all of that. So so what we've done so far is to there's one major thing about this business is your integrity. So when you collect money from people, you must be sure that I'm able to pay back this money as at when due. So one of the things that we have done differently is to ensure that we have never had any default. We pay back our sponsors as when due. And also we give updates. Because people also need to see what they are funding beyond your money is somewhere, but you don't know what your money is doing. So you're able to see that, I funded this agri project, or my money is in this real estate business and stuff. So the regular updates.
How often do they get updates?
So we do a monthly update. So we just run down everything we do during the month and send videos, pictures of what was done, during the month. So that also gives a lot of people courage to be able to do it, because it's not like, there is a strange business, or let me say spiritual business somewhere that I don't know where my money is going to. Yeah. And then when you also see those businesses, you can, excitedly say, I'm one of the people that funded this project on Farmcrowdy or PlusTvAfrica or any of the companies. So there's also that sense of accomplishment that comes with it.
With it. Interesting. So, what impact has Crowdyvest had on businesses in Nigeria so far?
So one would be the fact that we are solving a problem around access to finance.
Which is major for SMEs.
Which is very major for SMEs. So I've heard people say, I remember where we met, if you remember, where the interview, we had some guys from the bank that says, okay, for you to be able to access loan, you have to have an audited financials, maybe 3 years or so.
All of those long
and you see all the long list. And I'm like, okay, if I'm starting up a business and I have a very good idea, I've done my pilot phase, I've tested it, and I can see how to start. But then the requirement to access loans from most of the financial houses, a lot of SMEs cannot. Meet it. So creating access to finance for those that would not be able to, have access to that finance is important. And also another thing is that we are very particular about the 17 SDG goals. It's not something that we are waiting that, okay, after 2025, and all of that, it will change again. We are very particular about solving it. And one of the ones that is really key to my heart is zero hunger. Imagine children still going to bed without food for many days. And what we've been able to do, funding our partner Farmcrowdy, is to create that, that space where farmers are able to get access to quick finance to run their business. So knowing that we are solving those problems, how be it small that we are contributing, but then also getting the community to join and be part of it's a major thing for us.
Amazing. I'm sure it feels fulfilling, right?
Yeah, very fulfilling.
Great. So we'll just go on a short break now.
Okay.
We will take a short break now and be back for more Crowdyvest talk with our guest after the break. Thanks for staying with us. We have been speaking with Temitope, the MD and co-founder of Crowdyvest. So Temitope, tell us, what criteria do you look out for before funding a business?
So first, the business model must be something that meets up with the 17 SDG goals. We look at it and we see the problems that this business is solving and the value that the business is creating first. Okay. And then, of course, all the technical parts, we are checking your books to be sure that you are able to pay and where necessary collaterals that needs to be in place, proper due diligence that needs to be in place. So once you clear out all of those criteria, then and also importantly, it also has to be, because we put this project on our platform, but it's left to our sponsors to really key into it and be willing to fund the project.
Earlier you said that you normally give your sponsors monthly updates and regular updates. How do you even, what steps have you put in place to actually monitor the funds you're giving to businesses to ensure that they're being used for the right purpose? Okay, so one of the major things we do is we require that update from them. So the businesses are expected to send us update of what they are doing. Okay. And also we conduct visits to the project to see what they are doing, to monitor and to ensure that, okay, when you say to us, we are going to be building one block in Ikoyi and stuff, we go there to see the progress report. And also one of the things they do when they are requesting for those funds is they tell us stage by stage
this is what we are going to do by this time.
Okay, so you don't give funds in one go, do you?
No, we give in
it.
tranches where necessary, but there are some projects where you just have to give it one time for all. But then they give us a roadmap to what they are doing to say, okay, this month we'll do this, next month this is what we're doing. So we use that to monitor what they are doing and then just pay them regular visits. Okay.
I'm sure that everyone right now has been affected by the outbreak of COVID. And very recently, the hike in Forex.
Sure.
So tell me, how has that impacted Crowdyvest?
Okay. So one of the things we did was identifying the businesses that are not using USDs, for example, to fund their business, because it doesn't make sense if you're giving that money and then by the time you're going to change back to Naira, it does not make sense. You're already in trouble. So, so for the Crowdyvest does not really directly focus on businesses that raise funds in USD right now. So there is really no direct impact with what we do. Although we intended to start looking at those businesses, but we had to take a step back to survey and properly pay attention to what is happening. And if you are going to go in that direction, the plan is if you are collecting money in USD, you don't change it. You have to also fund the project in USD and make sure that when you are collecting the money back, you are collecting the money back in USD. The problem mainly is when you change back to Naira and then you want to change back.
Yeah, you'll be losing money.
Yeah, you'll be losing money. So we try not to do that process.
Okay. So what advice would you have for entrepreneurs out there that are struggling because of Forex right now?
So I think that what I would say to them is it's a critical time to look at your business because nobody knows when this is going to stop and what price this is going to stop at. So you can't really plan properly. So if it's a business that may have to pivot into other things and say, okay, or let's take things down a bit and, review our businesses, I think it's a good time to do that instead of, keep funding the business and then you get yourself into serious trouble. Also, I would advise, just like I said, if you are collecting money in USD, do not change it to Naira. That's the best thing to do. Just make sure that you are either working with your bank to see how whatever funds you are collecting in USD, they are giving you maybe the Naira value of it, and then you are working with your bank to keep that money with them so that you don't have to change. So you are taking a loan against the USD you have in the bank. So that serves as your bank guarantee or some collaterals for you to be able to access funds. But really, just maybe take a step back and see how you can maybe diversify your business where necessary, and then sit with your bankers and see what you can do. A lot of
businesses are sinking this year.
Yes, a lot of businesses are sinking. And unfortunately, we don't know when it will stop or how they intend to solve this problem. So,
yeah. Okay, so I know you're also the co-founder of Farmcrowdy.
Yes.
We have, in Nigeria, we believe oil and petroleum is our only saving grace. And a lot of people have tried to ring it into the ears of people that, guys, we can do better and more if we diversify. So in terms of agriculture, how do you think we can scale up agriculture to be the national treasure now instead of oil?
Okay, so I think a lot would happen when there is a mindset shift. If that doesn't happen, then it won't happen. If we don't understand that we need to focus on agriculture and we keep focusing on oil, nothing is going to change. Because it's what you pay attention to that will grow. If you don't pay attention to things, they will remain stagnant. And I'm surprised that we still pay attention to oil when food is something that nobody can do without food. I ask questions. Is there anyone that can, even if you are fasting, I'm not sure you can do dry fasting for 50 days or 100 days. So food is an essential commodity. It's like number one. So mindset shift has to happen first. And then when that happens, then conversation needs to also happen. Because it's not just about pumping money into the agricultural sector. It's about to sit down and also plan it properly. I've heard friends or family members that say, oh, I think maybe if I put my money into this, grow this farm for 1 month, I'll have this yield and I'll sell. It's not like that. We've had our fingers burnt in that space. So it's also a space that would require proper planning, proper infrastructure being put in place. It will also involve a proper structure because beyond just farming, there has to be like a backward integration. As you are farming, you know that you have somebody that is buying and the person that is buying knows that, okay, this is maybe the processing they are putting it in, and then they are bagging it and selling, and so the circle goes on and on and on. But sometimes people want to go into agriculture and they start from, let me just farm first. No, don't just farm. Farm before you even start. Know who is buying it off you. And again, we don't have proper storage system in the country. So people, the food wastage in this country is alarming.
Oh, wow.
So people farm, but there are no proper storage. And then there's no proper even market strategy to say, this is how I'm going to sell. So you farm, and at the end of the farming cycle, maybe 70% of your harvest has gone to waste because you have not properly planned. So it's a lot. Just the way we plan the oil, you have to also sit down and plan it properly so you don't get into trouble. But I'll say to everyone, agriculture is the #1 business because people will always eat. But as long as you know how to properly structure it, you'll be fine.
Great. So as someone who has worked with entrepreneurs for a very, very long time, what common mistakes have you noticed that entrepreneurs make, especially small businesses, while running their business? What common mistakes have you figured?
One that really comes to mind now is that a lot of people build structures around themselves and they forget to put structures in place. So what I mean is, it means if Tokpa is not at work, nothing happens. Now, if Tokpa decides to leave and somebody else comes up, so you have to start all over again because you have not built structure. So they build structure around people, but they don't put structure in place that can, survive regardless of whoever is handling what position. So that is a major mistake I've noticed. And in our culture, we always feel that you have to be that, let me use the word kabiosi, like I'm the CEO of my, so nothing happens. When I come into the room, everybody should run. No, that's not the proper way to build business. Your people should be comfortable around you regardless. So that's another mistake I noticed that people make, where they are afraid of their boss. No, your staff should be your friend because you are building something together. And your ability to create a sense of ownership is very important because it means that when you are not there, they will stick their neck out for you to make sure that the business does not suffer. And the truth is, they are the ones doing the work. So they know where the loopholes are. So if you are not sitting down to ask them questions or bring them into that space where they know that we are all in this together, your business will suffer. And at most, they will take your idea and go and start it somewhere else. And the third thing I'm going to say is that plan properly. Again, because sometimes you start this business and then you get stuck, especially when it comes to funding. You need to plan very well, but don't plan with other people's money. Start with your money first and start small. It's very important. People want to start with 100 million for a business that you've not tested it, you've not tried it out. You want to start with 100 million naira. No, start with 5 million. See how that goes. Learn from it, then scale up bit by bit. Don't do it overnight, and don't do it with other people's money when you are starting as much as possible, because if you do that and you get into trouble, that's it. So I think those are the three things.
They are key things, really. Yeah. Thank you, Temitope, for being with us on the show today on Ladies Talking Business. We really appreciate everything you said to us today.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So that's how far we can go on this episode of Ladies Talking Business. Be sure to join us next week for another wonderful episode. Thanks for watching and goodbye.